G'day, my name is Andy Smulders and I work as a car journalist in the Netherlands, making photos of electric vehicles, but most of all, also testing them. I'm driving about 80,000 kilometers a year in different electric vehicles, and this is my own car, my Tesla Model 3 2021. And with this car I have been visiting the service center for 38 times, and here they confirmed that Tesla has a major problem regarding a software issue which they are not be able to fix in the near future. When I first got this car delivered in March 2021 in Tilburg the Netherlands, I was very happy that I got this nice performance car. I knew I was buying a Tesla, so I was expecting some panel gaps, some building issues, because Tesla is famous for these kind of things. So when I picked up the car, I noticed a few panel gaps, especially with the door handles, and the alignment of the dashboard was not correctly. The dashboard was out of line, so close to the door panels on one side of the dashboard there was enough room to put your finger in, and on the other hand there was no room at all, and it was just pressing against the door panel on the passenger side. But I drove away and everything looked fine until I got the first kilometers on the road. So when I picked up the car, drove home, I noticed that the car was driving like it had 4 flat spots on the tires. And it was the first time that I had to call a Tesla service center and explain the situation. And they told me that this could happen because it's a 235/35 20-inch tire, and during the transport it might have been flat spotted. So they told me just drive a few kilometers with it and see what will happen, and then get back to us. But nothing happened with the car. It even became worse and worse every day. So with less than 500 kilometers the car went the first time to the service center in Tilburg. And there they noticed the problem, so they said, well, we need to replace the rear tire. So the rear tire had to be replaced, but still no solution. So the car went back and forwards a few times, and we also went to the service center in Eindhoven. I have to say, a great service center there, excellent service, and they told me, well, we need to replace 4 tires. So with 581 kilometers on the clock, it had the first rear tire replacement. Then it had another rear tire replacement at 3,139 kilometers. Then the door handles were adjusted at 5,371 kilometers. And then the service technician told me that there was a problem with the door handle. They welded a metal plate on the inside of the door at the wrong position, so they can't adjust the door handle. And what I told them is what's the limit? When do you replace a door, or when do you do something else with the door? And they said, no, it's within the limits of the car. And when I asked her what's the limits, is it 2 centimeters, 2 millimeters, 1 meter, 30 centimeters? They told me, we don't know, but it's within the limits. Well, that's a very easy thing to say. If you don't know what the limits are, but you tell me it's within the limits of the car. So when I went back to Eindhoven, they found a problem, and they told me we had to replace some bolts of the drive unit in front of the car. They were already broken. They also had to replace 8 bolts from the hub SC drive units on the front, because there was some movement on the wheels, and that was what gave the vibrations. And they also changed again 4 rims to make sure that the problem was fixed. But after this they still had to replace another rim and another set of tires, and during that period that they changed the tires, they also damaged again the 4 rims by holding a metal thing behind the wheel and damaging the inside of the rims. So they had to replace another 4 rims. So in total I had 16 rims replaced on this car within 5,000 kilometers. And within those 5,000 kilometers I also had 16 new tires on this car. And if you know all those things are happening, you think, what could be the cause of this problem? Because right away, directly from the delivery of the car, these problems were already notable inside the car. So what I think is that this car got damaged during transport, and the sea container might have been dropped a little bit too hard, because otherwise you can't break off bolts and damage the hub SC drive units on the front wheels. So something must have happened during transport, after transport, but at least before delivering of this car. And that's the same with the brakes. As you can see, there are still a lot of marks on the brake discs, and Tesla already burnished the brake discs and said it will be over. It looked great the first time, but within a week again you see that the brake is not pushing correctly on the brake discs. So this is also an issue that could be involved with dropping the car. Something is bent and not correctly in line. They also had to change the door panel from the passenger side 2 times, and that was because of a dent that happened on this position. And this happened because the dashboard was too much aligned to the passenger side. So while you close the door, this mark would hit the inside of the door panel. So they had to adjust the whole front dashboard and align it again, which is very hard. And they tried it, it's still not perfectly aligned, but at least the door is not damaging anymore. And they tried to solve it the first time by just adjusting the door to the outside. But what happens if you adjust the door to the outside? Then you get a windy noise here, because the door is more outwards than on the correct position. And even then the door panel got damaged, so they had to do it twice. And the only thing they could solve this was by adjusting the dashboard, putting it in the right alignment, put in a new door panel on the passenger side, and don't force the door on the outside, because then you have a lot of wind noise. So they've done that, but also this shows me that something happened with the car, because otherwise I can't believe that Tesla is building a car like this directly from the factory, with all those gaps, panels and problems and bolts that are broken before delivery. So the car must have been dropped somewhere before it got delivered. Well, and then the electronic problem started. Well, cosmetically, we know that it's known that Tesla's not building the best cars, so we accept that. But if you start to have electronic problems like air conditioning not working, the temperature is not displaying the correct temperature, the screen is just getting black and not showing anything at all, well, then it becomes a safety issue. And the temperature issue was really a major problem. It started off in the southern of France. It was 29 degrees there, and the temperature on the screen showed it was 2 degrees Celsius. So that's a difference of 27 degrees. Now you would say, what? It's not that important, the temperature. But below 4 degrees Celsius, the airco system will not work. So the airco system is not working, and you drive in the southern of France in the summer, and it's 29 degrees, and you drive into a rainstorm or heavy rain or even light rain. The fog from outside the car will be directly placed on the windscreen in front of you. And within 1 or 2 seconds you can't see anything anymore. You have to stop the car and to clean your window, and it's like a smoke gun went off inside the car. And it was really a safety issue, because the only thing I could do was just stop as soon as possible and try to clean my window and see what happened. And it took me about 15 minutes and resetting the car, giving a reset of the computer, and then suddenly the temperature went up again to 15 degrees. And as long as it's above 4 degrees Celsius, then the airco system will work. So that was for me the time that I could drive on and to continue my journey. So then I went back to the service center in Tilburg, and the car went inside the factory. The factory temperature inside was 15 degrees. The temperature in the car showed it was 27 degrees. So they said, Andy, we still did not fix the system. We still have to keep the car here. They placed the car outside the factory while it was 8 degrees at night. The temperature inside the car went up to 35 degrees. And they told me, yes, it might have been a problem in the app. Because the car is in service mode, I can't adjust anything. So I told them, please read the data from the car itself. And they told me, yes, the data from the car itself shows it went to 36 degrees and nothing has been turned on. So while the car was at the service center from Tesla, they could see that there was a problem and that the temperature is not correct. But they could not find out how to solve it. So they said, Andy, we can't solve this problem. You have to live with it. And I don't mind if the temperature is a little bit lower than normal. But if you have that problem and you drive in the south of France and it's 29 degrees, it's very humid, there's a little bit of rain, and the temperature says inside it's 2 degrees Celsius and the airco system is not working, it's really a safety issue. And they should work on that and find a solution to fix this. At the time they told me, Andy, we're going to replace the harness, we're going to replace the side cameras, we're going to replace the temperature sensors again, we're going to change the body control, the front control Gen 3, the HVAC sensor again was changed, and they replaced the hardware 3 computer to solve this problem. But nothing worked and the problems remained. I have to say, they tried very hard, but they could not solve it. So a few weeks ago the whole airco compressor broke down. It made a lot of noise. It smelled very weird, like there was a fire inside, and that was the end of the airco system. So they had to replace it anyway. But it took them 1.5 years to find out that there was a problem with the airco system. And then we had another major problem coming up, and this is where Tesla told me they have a major software issue which they are not being able to solve. And it was told to me by the head mechanic of the service center in Tilburg the Netherlands. And when he told me this, I could not believe my ears. And I explained to him, is it really true what you tell me? And he said yes. So after that I wrote a letter to the communication department and the press department in the Netherlands, asking again if it was correct what I heard, that Tesla has a major software problem which they are not being able to fix in the near future. But instead of getting a message back from the press or communication department, I got a letter back from the legal department. And still no answer on my question, but they told me, you know, if you want to go to court, it's fine. We go to the highest court and it will take as long as possible. And what was the major thing that's going on with that software issue? The problem is that my car can drive forward while the gear is selected in reverse, and when the gear is selected in reverse, it will drive forward. So you don't know which side or which direction the car will go. Will it go forward if it's in forward, or will it go in reverse? And then Tesla tells everybody we got the safest cars, we got the highest ranking on the crash test, we got 5-star rating. That might all be true, but is it also true that the car is safe for people surrounding the Tesla? For example, if I put the gear in drive and I want to show off my great acceleration speed of the car, and instead of driving the car forwards, it goes into reverse, but the system says I'm driving forwards, and I'll show you in the videos later on what the car will be doing. And a mother with a child on a push bike is standing behind me. and with full speed I hit the mother and the child, or even when the child is walking or another car. Then you can't say that Tesla is a safe car. And that you should solve the problem, and if you can't solve that software issue, then you should hire the best people to fix it as soon as possible. And if you think I'm the only car that's doing that, no, I got a video from somebody from Belgium, and he's got the same problem. So there are more cars in the world with this problem, that the car drives forwards while it's in reverse, and in reverse while it's in the forward position, in the drive position. Kijk, onderste camera's zitten gewoon vast. Ik ben nu gewoon aan het rijden. En de beelden bewegen niet. Nu even een stukje zo te zetten. Zal ik mijn dingen niet raak. Ik zal even naar voren zetten. Kijk. Gaat ook niet eens een D. Geef gas, hij staat wel in zijn R's hier. Ik rij gewoon vooruit. Ik schakel in zijn achteruit. Kijk, ik rij netjes achteruit. De camera snel blijft in D staan. Ik zie ook niet, de sensoren werken ook niet. Ik sta bijna achter tegen een auto aan. Ik zet hem in D, doorgeklikt. Nou, zo nog een keer doorklikken. Kijk, ik rij netjes vooruit, hij blijft netjes in R staan, hij gaat piepen. Ik sta in de P-stand. Automatisch sturen tijdelijk niet beschikbaar. Ik ga nog een keer naar de... Kijk. En hij blijft netjes in D staan.
Snelheid niet nodig. Nee. Voilà. 70. Het rijdt nog altijd 70 meter. Zelfs bijgeven. En we rijden nog altijd 70. What the fuck is dit, jong? Hardware 4 upgrade iemand?
So a couple months later I really experienced something really terrible inside this car. And I've read and saw people driving full throttle with a Tesla, hitting a wall, driving through a fence. And I always thought, gee, those people are old, or they are not being able to control a car, or they don't know what to do. But suddenly it happened to me. And I was parked in Best, at a parking place in the center of Best. And I tried to put the car into gear. And it didn't work. And I did it like this. And it didn't work. So I went a few times like this. I'm not pressing the brake pedal now, so it's just to explain what I've done. And suddenly I noticed that the car wanted to go in a kind of launch control. I had my feet on the brake. And I thought to myself, the Tesla Model 3 doesn't have a launch control. So I was expecting something to happen. And when I let go of the brake pedal, the car really speeded out of the parking lot with 52 kilometers. It showed that here The automatic pilot was set to 100 kilometers. So what I think that happened is that while the car was in a parked position, so the car went into the autopilot function while it was parked. And as soon as I let go of the brake, the car drove and speeded really away with over 50 kilometers an hour on a parking lot with parked cars, narrow roads. So my wife was sitting next to me and she got really scared. So the thing I done was just hit the brake, and Tesla found those data, and they told me exactly what was happened. And they also said you adjusted the steering wheel to the left, to the right, you pressed the brake, but they also told me that I pressed the accelerator. And I know for 100% that I did not touch the accelerator, because I already was expecting something to happen because of the brake pressure and the way the car behaved. So when I told Tesla this, I would have thought that they would be very happy with my input and they'd want to try and solve this problem. But the response I got from Tesla was that it was a driving fault. So you have to explain that you're talking to somebody who is testing and test driving electric cars from all kinds of companies, and you tell him that he is not being able to drive a car. And I really felt scared about it. And I couldn't believe why they would not respond in a normal way. But there was some leaked data from a German employee, and in that data it showed that over 2,700 cases are known with an issue that happened to my car. And they also told the people to explain to the customer that's a fault by the driver. So they would not be happy with my case, because there were already 2,700 same cases known with Tesla. I'm currently working on a large article, and also people are involved about reading the data from a car, talking to the government in the Netherlands about this issue, and also finding other peoples who have the same problem as I have, to make a complete article to publish in the Netherlands. I don't know what Tesla wants, what the solution is, but if you have about 2,108 cars, I think Tesla should find out if it's the same batch, same year, same model, same components on board, and they should find a solution for this car and the other cars as well. Because if an accident will happen like this, Tesla will most likely say it's a driver's fault, because it's very hard to get to the data of the Tesla. But that's not the way to do it. The car must be safe for the people inside, and also as safe as possible for the people outside the car. And you have to trust the car. If it says I drive forward, that the car will drive forward, and that the car will drive in reverse while the gear is selected in reverse as well. I think that Tesla will adjust this problem by removing the stack. I heard that the new Model 3 will have the gear switch on the LCD screen, and that it's a known issue for Tesla, but they don't want to let it out to the public. Thanks for watching this video, and soon we will update this video with an article in the Dutch media.